Israel has a lot of options. They can go after a variety of different targets in Iran or of Iran's interest that are in the region. This could include command and control sites. It could include the launcher sites or other military bases that participate in the operation. It certainly could include the nuclear facilities associated with the nuclear weapons program, or it could be infrastructure and energy targets. For example, grid targets or facilities associated with the grid, or perhaps oil and gas facilities with a intent of impacting Iran's economic situation. But they also have a choice in how hard they can go. They can go as they did last time with a relatively light response, really intending to send more of a message. Or they can go a little bit heavier with the intention of not only sending a message but actually punishing. So there's a lot of options here, and it is my assessment that given the size of the Iranian attack a few days ago, that Israel will see that it is necessary not only to send a message but actually to go after something which Iran values and make them pay a cost for it.
President Biden has said, of course, the US is fully supportive of Israel, but he did say there were some red lines. One of them was Iran's nuclear facilities, but you suggested that perhaps that could be a likely or possible target for Israel at this stage.
Well, I think the president has said, that he is not in favor of that. I don't know that completely excludes it from Iranian considerations. Ultimately, they will make the decision on this, and certainly the United States, as a key partner to Israel, will be involved in appropriate consultations and discussions about this. But ultimately, the decision is one for Israel to make, not for the United States.
Iran has said that it will step up its response if indeed it's attacked by Israel, counterattacked, I should say. Iran's also saying it doesn't want a war. How do we interpret a country that says we don't want war? Does that mean we don't think we could win one?
I think that certainly is part of it here. I think Iran appreciates that they will not prevail in a toe-to-toe fight with Israel if it came to that. I think in this latest round, I think that Iran was compelled to respond to Israel. I think there was a lot of pressure being put on them by Hezbollah and others within the so-called axis of resistance. They had not yet responded to anything over the last several weeks. So I think they felt that they were compelled to respond. They did. They did it in a strong manner. I think they did that recognizing that, one, that Israel would be well defended, and secondly, that any action would invite a counter reaction from Israel. So I think that what Iran is counting on is Israel's response to be of the nature that it was the last time. That there will be a response, but it will not be one which will, necessitate Iran to respond, and it will provide an opportunity to de-escalate, at least from the current cycle of violence.
One of the reports that really struck me the last couple of days suggests that there's a huge amount of paranoia in the corridors of power in Tehran, not least given the intelligence role that Israel seems to be on at the moment. They infiltrated Hezbollah in a way that I think nobody could have expected. Do you think they've managed to do the same with Iran? Do you think they've got the same level of intelligence, and perhaps they've got some surprises in store for Iran?
I think we've seen them the Israelis demonstrate some pretty exquisite skills over the last several weeks. So I have to make the assumption that they do have good insight into Iranian decision-making, Iranian leadership, and just what is taking place and what might be vulnerable within within all of that. I think your comments are exactly right. I mean, this is actually a resetting of some fundamental assumptions that have been made across the region. Iran has long counted on the fact that Hezbollah could be a deterrent. Could be a principal deterrent to Israel, and that is proving to be false. And now Iran is in a situation where they are now having to reevaluate their assumptions, reevaluate how they establish deterrence against Israel. And I'm sure this is causing a lot of challenges. And on top of that, you stack the unprecedented success militarily that Israel has had now for almost 2 months.
Yeah, it's probably affecting morale on the Iranian side as well, isn't it?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is not only are they losing close partners, but they're actually losing some of their own in these activities.
There's a new president in Iran, Masoud Pezeshkian. He rules over a divided country. Do you think there's scope? And we've heard overtures from Prime Minister Netanyahu earlier this week to the effect that, you know, he was trying to win over hearts and minds there in Iran. Do you think he's on the right tracks there, or do you think this is wishful thinking?
Well, I think in general, I think it is a good idea to try to win over hearts and minds of the people. I think it's very well established that there's a large part of the Iranian population that does not care for the current Iranian regime. And I think it's important to distinguish between the two. So trying to get the Iranian people to recognize that the pain that is being inflicted on the region, the pain that's potentially going to be inflicted on their country, is largely a result of the choices which their government has made for a number of years now, is an important aspect in bringing other pressures to this to resolve the situation. There's a lot that can be done militarily, but I think the real skill here is going to be in not only applying military power, but diplomatic power, informational power, economic power, to really change behavior, the behavior of Iran and its proxy network here going forward. And I think that is what Israel is very, very focused on doing.
We've got a dangerous cocktail, though, of situations, circumstances in this region. We've talked about the paranoia in Iran. We've talked about power vacuums, with Hezbollah essentially being decapitated. We've got a great deal of uncertainty. There's a real risk, isn't there, of a miscalculation at some point. And some of the analysts we've spoken to this week have been echoing this. I mean, is that a concern that you would share?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree with this. Something could go wrong here, a response that goes awry, like we've seen, with Hezbollah's strike into the Golan Heights several weeks ago, could really be a precipitating event here. And so, yeah, this is high stakes risk management here on both sides, both for the Iranians and for the Israelis, and of course for the United States as well as a principal partner to Israel. So yeah, there's a lot that could go wrong here with this, and so these are not easy decisions. I think it's good that Israel seems to be taking a little bit of time to consider their response, and hopefully that will not only help them develop an effective response, but one that can be well managed, throughout the next cycle of wherever this current venture takes us.
And this is my last question, just sort of looking forwards, really. Are you hopeful that we're going to find some sort of a diplomatic resolution to all of this, or do you think it's an inevitability that there's going to be a lot more violence before we get to the point that peace and ceasefires and the like are discussed?
Well, I as a soldier, I always have to be hopeful that there's an alternative to fighting forever, and so I do hope that we can get there. I don't see immediate indications of this at this particular time, But one of the roles of military power is to create conditions so that our diplomats can come to the table here. That we can compel people to come to the table. They can make choices other than continue to employ military power and try to resolve these issues. And ultimately, that's what it's going to take. But that sometimes takes time to get to. And I think that's the situation that we're in right now. Is that both sides. And as we've seen in Gaza, neither of the warring parties has seen it in their interest to come to the table yet, and that's probably because there's not been enough pressure created that would require that. So yeah, I'm hopeful that we will get to that. I don't see immediate signs of it right now.